your first game, Coach?
Well, we weren't good tonight, but a lot of that had to do with Western Illinois. Jim and their players were tremendous. Played so well in a tough environment for them. I know he's super proud of them. I know it's hard for them. It would have been hard for anybody to lose this game. But we weren't good offensively because of how good they were defensively. But we stayed in the game because we defended. And we've been preaching that all year. It was obviously the focus coming off of last year to be better defensively. And here late in the year, we've been pretty good defensively. And it kept us in the game enough to win the basketball game. And just so happy for Griffin mostly. Because this was his last chance. These other kids will have another chance. But Griff made huge plays for us late. He was the senior that we needed.
Questions from the two student athletes? And please raise your hand and go ahead and identify yourself.
Terry Van Beck, Griff, you missed your first 5, and then you finally hit that 3 about midway through the second half. So you get you guys going. Did you feel like that? Just you needed one to fall, and it would kind of open up for you a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. The main thing was that the team stayed positive with me. They didn't give up on me. They said, jump up, shoot it with confidence. And that's what we were telling all our guys because they were falling in the first half. And that's what we did. We stuck some big shots.
Back here in the third row.
Brad Doak from Midco Sports Network. Nate, you had a rough night offensively from shooting through the field. What did Western Illinois do to disrupt your offensive rhythm tonight, you feel?
Sheila Clarkson, great defender, and they defended me well my whole career, I think. And they did a great job of just staying in, and I didn't really have any good looks. So, I struggled, but Griffin came up huge, and the 2 free throws were just amazing. Clutch situation, and that 3 really sparked at the end, so done a good job.
Griffin, Marcus Dragster, SDSU Collegian, just talk about that, what ended up being the game-winning 3.
Like I said, they just told me to jump up, shoot with confidence. We weren't going to stall. You get an open look, knock it down, and that's what I did.
Second row.
Matt Zimmer, Argus leader. For both the players, this is obviously getting to this point been a process. You guys have been here for part of it. Your coach has been here for all of it. Can you talk about how happy you are for him to get to the NCAA tournament?
I'm thrilled for him. He's always believed in us, stayed confident in us. He's a great coach. We love him very much. Just extremely happy for him. He deserves it.
Yeah, he's been through it all, but being unbelievable in D2 and then going through transition, and he's been through it all, and to have this kind of year and this kind of finish, they're not finished yet, but just unbelievable.
Nate, you guys really haven't had the luxury of thinking about going to the NCAA tournament because you've been told not to think that far ahead. You've been focused on the next game, and now you have a chance to think about you're going to play in the big dance. That's got to be quite a reality.
Yeah, it's still soaking in. Probably enjoy it for a couple days, but it should be a lot of fun. First in school history, so looking forward to Sunday.
Matt Henderson, KJM Radio. Griffin, basically, do you feel that you guys were down double digits in that second half, less than over midway through that second half? Did you guys lose confidence? You guys ever lose hope? Or was it just one of those things where you just kept battling back and battling back?
We never gave up hope. We always stay positive with each other no matter what happens. And that's what I love about this team. Nothing can get us down. And we don't get on each other. We talk to each other. We don't scream at each other. We just talk to each other and just get through it together.
Nate, sort of a related question, but a lot of things went what on paper looked like went your way this week. With injuries or upsets or whatever, and you're playing a team that you've had success against, and it looked like it was going to slip away. Did you get a sense of urgency, or did you have kind of that feeling as the clock's ticking down and you're behind the whole way?
Yeah, second half, we just couldn't get anything well, and defense won it for us. So we just kept getting stops, and we knew eventually the shot would fall, and we could have a couple of huge ones.
One back here in the back row.
And Matt Pocket, WXOU Radio. Guys, can you talk about the defensive effort in the second half? They kept getting guys open in the first half, and then only shot 1 for 5 from downtown in half number 2. And it looked like you guys were playing much better on the ball, too.
Yeah, we just, at halftime, like I said, we talked to each other, figuring out what we got to do. Digging off Parks because he's a great player and you need to dig on him. And then just our rotations were good, challenging each shot, and then just boxing on rebound.
In the back.
Griff, Jim Owensky, Keller TV, talking to some of the guys out there, they said that at half you were one of the guys that was really trying to do kind of your message as the one saying there.
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
The guys were talking about how you were one of the guys really stepping up vocally at the half. As the lone senior, what was your message to the team?
Just to not give up and stay positive, just because our shots weren't falling, and some of the guys' heads were down, and we can't have that in the locker room. We got to come back and win this, and that's why I told them that's what we were going to. We did.
Nate, it seemed like the crowd was sometimes trying to just will you guys to get going. I know you're involved in the game. Is there a sense of not wanting to let the crowd down when you've got an environment like that? You really want to kind of take advantage of it?
Yeah, definitely. The crowd was great. All they really got to do the second half. I think that definitely helped us.
Brian Anderson, WXCU. It's either you guys, Coach wanted you guys to win, you guys wanted to win for yourself. How bad do you guys want to win for Coach?
Just as bad as he wanted it for us.
Griff, talk about the last play that they had with Tyler coming down and the ball popped in the lane. What sort of happened in that scrum?
He threw it up, and then I had it, and it got knocked out of my hands. And I think Parks came up with it, but then Brady made a mistake by stripping it out of Parks' hands and coming up with it at the end.
Is everybody okay about that? Other questions for the student athletes? Okay, thank you, gentlemen, and congratulations. Questions for Coach Nagy, Terry?
Scott, you were more subdued on the sideline tonight than you usually are. Why was that?
Well, I mean, I didn't think we were playing for it. We just didn't shoot the ball well. And a lot of it had to do with them. They were good defensively, but I just felt like in the second half, my job was just to spur our guys on and be positive. And that's generally not how I coach. But I knew we were in that position if that's what we needed. And so, I thought our coaching staff did a really good job of every time out in the second half, we just didn't let our kids feel sorry for themselves, and we. It's not my nature to be positive, but I knew that's what was needed tonight.
Over here.
Chad White had a pretty quiet night, it seemed, in terms of scoring, but he had a big three-pointer late in that second half, and then he also
stayed up on that rim forever. But
how big were those three-pointers?
Well, and I can't remember everything that before that, but if I'm not mistaken, Griffin got a big rebound coming across the middle, and I think that's when Chad hit the three, but I might be wrong. But obviously those were big. That put us up 1, and I called the timeout, and I can't remember how it all unfolded. I know they went down and scored. Maybe we hit the 3, and that was it. But Chad hit a couple threes tonight, I think, didn't he? Yeah, 3 of them. And Chad hurt his knee in practice last week and has really, really had to battle through that. He's been in a lot of pain. And it's starting to feel a little better here. So, and I told him last night, and I told him before the game, because he didn't play a lot of minutes last night, that we were going to need him to play a lot of minutes for us, and he did. He played 35 minutes, and I knew we would need that out of him. He was good defensively. I mean, he blocked some shots. They had a hard time scoring over the top of him. Really proud of him.
Coach, that last shot, how much did your pulse go up waiting for that shot to go in?
I knew it was going in. I did. I knew it was going in because I knew it was Griff. And I mean, you go back and look at our games this year when we've needed big shots. It has been Griff and Calhoun that has made those shots. When people made runs on us, Griff would make the shot to say, "You're not going to make the run on us." I did. When he took that, just deep down in, I knew it was going.
Question in the third row.
Coach, go ahead. Coach, you've talked about this year about how the success of this team would really not be points scored, that you guys could score points, but your defense would dictate your success. How satisfying is it that you had to finish this game with a stop in regulation and then a stop in overtime to get this win?
And, in tournament play, scores just drop. They just do. They turn into half-court games. People get more conservative, and that's certainly not our nature offensively to be conservative, but they made us be that way, the way that they play defense. But I mean, it's the reason we have 27 wins this year and not 19. Because our team is not a whole lot different in terms of talent level and all that. But starting at the end of the season last year, we made a commitment to be better. We just did. And it's been a long process. We haven't always been great this year. But here lately, the past 2 weeks, I'm really starting to feel like I have a pretty good defensive team, we have a good defensive team. It won this game for us. It got us in the NCAA tournament. It wasn't our offense.
Second row.
Coach, you've kind of talked about the personal vindication theme this week, and I mean, to get to the NCAA tournament was sort of the pinnacle for a lot of coaches. Not only for you personally, but for the SDSU program. A lot of people were critical of the move to go to Division I, and said, you'd never be able to compete for championships. Now you're going to the NCAA tournament, so it's got to be not just yourself, but for the university, a satisfying situation.
Yeah, number one, I do think it's probably everybody talking about it's big for our program, but it's obviously big for the university in terms of exposure, and there are just so many people that love our Jackrabbit logo, and so our logo is going to get out there this next week, and it's going to be fun to see how, I think Andy Katz absolutely loves our Jackrabbit logo. But it's going to be good exposure for the university, and obviously they're thrilled to have the women and the men in. What a tremendous opportunity for both of us. But for me, that was the dream, and when I would have recruits come in and they say, well, are you going to be here, are you going to be here? And number one, I would tell them, no coach can guarantee you that he'll be here tomorrow. But I can say I've been here for this many years, whether it be 12 or 13 or 14 or 15, I've been here, and so you know what my past is. And my dream is to see South Dakota State playing the NCAA tournament. And obviously that was realized today, and hopefully we'll do it again. We'll do it a lot more.
Down front.
Todd Rudolph from Downtown County Boys. Coach, when Western upset Oral Roberts yesterday, the fans were excited. You said you were nervous. Well, what about them in particular made you think it'd be a tough matchup for you?
Well, I mean, look at them. They're just so much better defensively. I think if you look at points per possession in the league, 1 and 2 between us and them, and that's why we were in the championship game. Obviously, like the first night, Southern Utah beat Oakland, our fans were excited, and then Western beat Oral Roberts, our fans were excited, and I was never excited about any of it because I knew we were going to play good, tough teams that were very well coached, and it didn't matter whether it was Oakland or Oral Roberts or those other teams, and so that didn't change how I looked at any of the teams and how we were going to prepare.
Question back here.
Coach, it's always been a mantra that point guards win in March. Could you feel any better having an ace in the hole like Nate going into it?
Well, I mean, he's one of the best in the country, and he struggled tonight, but big deal. He's allowed to struggle every once in a while, and it's good that our other teammates picked him up, and he played good defensively tonight. I was pleased with his defense. That was the most important thing to me. But yeah, when we go into the tournament, to be able to have a guy like him can help you win any game, and we know that. And that's the goal now. This isn't the end. It's not like, oh, we got in the tournament, okay. And obviously it's a big celebration, but we've got to be able to get our players kind of pulled back in and say, okay, now that we're in this thing, let's prepare to win the next game. And you saw VCU go to the Final Four. And I'm not going to sit here and guarantee we're going to the Final Four, but it's just the next game, and we know if we play well, we can beat anybody.
Time for a couple more questions, Terry.
Coach, when the game ended kind of clumsily with the ball hopping around and people looking for a whistle, whatever, when that horn sounded, what was it sort of surreal?
Yeah, well, it still is. It still is. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I've had very many times in my life where it just felt like you were dreaming. But yeah, that was surreal. I was looking for my wife, my dad, and because they went through it with me. It was hard on them to watch them, and so I'm so pleased for them too, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my wife and my kids and my dad.
We'll take one more right here.
Coach, you always schedule games. Obviously, the Washington game goes and it justifies itself. Do you feel like now all the scheduling of some of the team, those big teams pays off now that you guys make it?
Well, I mean, we need to do that. I mean, we just obviously need our strength of schedule higher. What would be great is if we played a strong enough strength of schedule that we could possibly, get 2 teams in the tournament if one of them doesn't win. I know people talk about Oral Roberts, maybe if they've gotten a championship game. But that would be the hope, is that our league, it's going to hurt us to lose Oral Roberts, but that our league would be good enough to get 2, 3 teams in, and become like Missouri Valley, become like some of those leagues. And that's why I hate losing Oral Roberts, because teams like Oral Roberts and Oakland absolutely demanded of us that we get better, or we're going to get our tail handed to us. And so now we need to be one of those teams that makes everybody else get better, and let's make our league better, and let's make it much stronger conference.
Coach, thank you very much. And